So Marco Rubio said a lot of things during last night's debate, and he made a specific statement on education, specifically vocational education. Let's take a look at that.
And make higher education faster and easier to access, especially vocational training. For the life of me, I don't know why we have stigmatized vocational education. Welders make more money than philosophers. We need more welders and less philosophers. And if we do that, and if we do this, we will be able to increase wages for millions of Americans, and we will be able to leave everyone better off without making anyone worse off.
Oh my God, welders, yes, they make more money than philosophers. Oh my God, he's wrong. He's 100% wrong. For one, before I get into that, right? Once again, I've got facts here. I do agree that he's got a point with vocational training. I'm not against vocational training. I think it's a great thing. We need welders. We need people like that. It's a great thing to get, and it's actually not a bad job to do. But to say that being a welder pays more than a philosopher, well, it's patently untrue. According to the salary database at payscale.com, the average annual salary for graduates with a bachelor's degree in philosophy is, get this, $97,000. Now, while graduates with an associate's degree in welding technology, they earn about $58,500. Hey, you know what? That's not bad. That's not bad at all. That's a decent middle-class living. So if you want to be a welder, you're good at it, awesome. Let's increase money towards vocational training. Great. Now, this morning, Marco Rubio went on Fox and Friends and talked to Brian Kilmeade about this. And Kilmeade asked him about his claims without actually questioning whether or not it's factually accurate.
Welding. You said we need welders, that welders get paid more than philosophers. We're getting too many people with philosophy degrees. Here is your tweet. The Google Trends searches for welding classes are spiking 1,300%. Do you happy to be behind the welders today?
Well, look, it's not just welders, machinists, airplane mechanics, car technicians. These are good paying jobs. For the life of me, I don't know why we stopped teaching Americans to do that kind of work, to work with their hands. These are good paying jobs. We can be teaching kids to do that when they're 16 or 17 years of age.
Right.
And there's a shortage of people. You go around the country, as I do, to these manufacturing facilities, they can't find qualified workers. We should be training more young Americans to take on vocational careers, good paying jobs.
Plato would have been so much more successful if he just welded and stopped yapping about his philosophy. Senator.
Well, if you can find a welder, if you can find a philosopher that can weld, that's pretty good.
But hey, look, they are good paying jobs, right? He's right. And I'm in favor of vocational education. I can't stress that enough. I think it's a good thing. And look, I have personal experience with this. I worked alongside of welders for years. I used to work in manufacturing. I ran a welding machine. The machine welded for me. But I also worked alongside of actual people who would weld, right? Now, great people. I worked with a lot of great people, a lot of very skilled people. Welding is a skilled trade. I can't do it. The time that I tried to weld, I set myself on fire. I should not be near a welding machine. I should not be near a welder at all. Not exactly an auspicious start to any welding career, setting yourself on fire, right? So it's a skill that some people don't have. Some people do have skills in philosophy. Some people do have skills in welding. You go where you're most skilled. And you should have the option to do either. So, as I said, not everybody can be a welder. For someone like me, who's not good with their hands, who's not good at being a welder, well, someone like me is more likely to set someplace on fire than actually do a good job. Now, this is why I do a talk show. But anyway, here's what bothers me about Marco Rubio, right? And this specific statement, and the statement by Brian Kilmeade, right? Now, it's the idea that being anti-intellectual, anti-liberal arts is somehow cool. That we don't need liberal arts. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. No. We don't need professional thinkers. We don't need people that know how to think. Just, do your job. Just mindlessly do your job. And I'm not saying welders do that. But the idea that Plato, for example, should have been welding instead of, yapping about democracy and, all that stuff. Ignoring the fact that Western civilization is actually based off Greek philosophers like Plato. Hey, but you know what? Who cares about that, right? Who cares? It's not practical in the real world, in the business world, right? Well, apparently businesses disagree. In fact, there are some very successful people in the business world that have actually gotten a philosophy major. Here's some examples. Overstock.com CEO Patrick Byrne has a philosophy major. Flickr co-founder Stuart Butterfield, also philosophy major. And here's the most ironic one. Someone who was actually on the stage with Marco Rubio last night has a philosophy degree. You want to guess who it is? Carly Fiorina, former HP CEO. Interesting. In fact, according to Amy E. Farrer, executive director of the American Philosophical Association, philosophy majors are also apparently increasingly sought after by tech and business companies. Why? Well, why would you want somebody with philosophy? It's because philosophy actually teaches you how to think. And guess what? Critical thought and analysis is kind of important when it comes to creating a successful business. When you teach people how to think, or you help people to think, to learn different ways of analyzing the situation, they become more flexible when it comes to business. This is an important skill. Not everyone can be a philosopher, just like not everyone can be a welder. But to say that one is more important than the other, or the one isn't important and one is, well, that's ridiculous. Both are needed careers. Both are needed vocations that need to be funded as much as they need funding. People should have the option to do both and to do what they're good at. Now, another thing about philosophy majors, they also outperform most other majors on their LSAT and GRE, all while making more money after they graduate. But hey, you know what? I guess instead of finding incredibly successful businesses, they should just, shut the fuck up and start welding instead.